Welcome to Real Talk with the Pros. I'm Tammy Halford, the Associate Broker here at Pickett Fences Realty, and
I'm Chris McLaughlin, the Operations Manager here for the Pickett Fence Realty.
yeah, today we're joined by guest Jason Smith, who is the Marion County Assessor, as well as Mike Salina, who is the Commercial Appraiser here in Marion County.
So let's jump right in.
Welcome, and glad to have you all here with us today. And we're just going to start with some introductions. Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been here? When were you elected to the office? And just let us know a little bit about you.
So yeah, Jason Smith, Marion County Assessor. I got elected a year and a half ago, so new to this world, learning. It's been great. It ties in because I do like property and understanding that, and dealing with people is something I like helping. So it kind of like tied in when I found out about it and ran. It is a lot of obviously work and dealing with a lot of things that are beyond my control. I have an education background. I've done sales, so that's kind of prepped me to, deal with the public. Yeah.
So how are you liking the office so far? Challenging? More so than you thought? Was it what you expected?
That's a great question. Loaded question. So I think too, we have a lot of, during this time, people are aging out.
Okay.
So when I came in, I had to deal with, unfortunately, someone had passed away. So replacing them, and then also some people just at retirement age. So trying to find people that are, qualified, and because I want to get somebody that's good, I want to serve. If I got elected, I made some promises, some things that I wanted to do, and I want to get the right people, not just the body. So as I'm trying to learn a job, also trying to hire people that I'm trying to understand. But the biggest thing that I've had is I'm so grateful. I mean, even Mike's with me today. Like, I have an awesome team of core people that have been there that I can't thank enough. That have been there a while, that have really walked, guided me, and helped me through this transition where I wouldn't have been able to make it. So
Takes a team, takes a village, right?
it does.
Definitely.
And Mike, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been in your office? You're the commercial
I'm the
appraiser.
commercial appraiser for the county. Mike Salina. Been there 12 years. 2014 is when I started. So I've been doing it a while. It's challenging. It's interesting, but I really enjoy it. And dealing with business and dealing with residential houses, it's like night and day.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd been a temp. Like, we used to have temporary people for the summer, like college age. So back in the late 90s, I was there for a little bit. So I had a little bit of knowledge when I was hired before of doing some of the residential, and then I kind of just dived into commercial, and it just found it was so different. But I really enjoy it.
That's your niche. That's where you like to be.
Yeah, it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And I know when Tammy called over, Jason was like, "I'm bringing my right-hand man." One of
them.
One of the many.
There's many. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you feel like an octopus anyway. You have to go every direction.
It's true. Yeah.
And I want to be as educated. I'm still learning, so I want to make sure that we represent the office and educating everyone.
I've always heard great things about you. So.
Appreciate that.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
So, from my standpoint, and from buying and selling, people get confused about what assessed value is and what market value is. So when people go to the assessor's page and see there's a appraised value, how is that different from an actual appraiser going out and appraising the value of a property?
And before we get to that question, I want to get with something first.
Absolutely.
A common misconception.
Okay.
So as the assessor, 95% of my job is following state law.
Okay.
So it's not up to the assessor to determine these values, these percentages.
Okay.
There are a few instances that I'm able to, do certain things, but most of my job is upholding state law and making sure policy and procedure is conducted. So it's not me picking on, doing that.
So is there like a software? I mean, what kind of short form of the process?
So, from a standpoint of like assessing, like from the state?
From yours.
So we have And if you want to kind of better do that because you've done that
Yeah,
12 years.
So
Absolutely.
every property we have to countywide, we have to be within 10%. This is our big thing: 10% of market value countywide.
Okay.
So they'll give us a leeway between 90% and 110%. That's
Right.
every property.
Okay.
So we go out and look at the properties. The residential guys go and look at the houses, and I look at the commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and we value them as the buildings are, as they look like. For commercial, I have like the exterior, like the type of construction, if they're that, what they're made of, what's inside, what their use types are, how many floors, that kind of thing. But when you come to a value, that's your appraised value, your market value. The common misconception with that is that's what we're taxing you off of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not, it's not true. Our assessed value is 60% of the market value. So,
Okay.
So if you have $100,000 property, that's your land and your building combined. So it's not just your building, and it's another misconception. It's also the land that you own.
Okay.
And so if it's 100,000, we take 60%. So we start to tax off of $60,000, not 100,000. So it's not, you're not paying on whatever the value we have, and that's how it works. So it's just not as much as what you would think, and that's one of the big things about
Well, along
it.
that lines, how often do you have to go back in and
Chris,
reappraise?
So every 3 years,
Okay.
we're in different areas, and we're looking. And I understand. Listen, everybody, I have to pay taxes too.
Sure.
It's never fun to pay more money, but
Everybody dies and pays taxes.
right. But it's what I want people to understand too. It's a fair system.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that we do everyone the same. It's not like this person gets a favor, that person gets a favor. So
Sure.
it's a set thing. They have sheets that they fill out that they go off of. We take pictures. So if you increase the value of your house, if you were to sell it, like if you added a giant deck or a big bedroom, then your taxes are going to go up. Some
Right.
because you raise the value of your house.
So let me ask you this: if it's before the 3 years that you come back to assess, and I put in a deck or whatever to increase the value, do I call you and let you know that, or on that sheet that they send out once a year, or do we just wait until the 3 years?
You can fill out on the sheet that you have it, the sheet
Mm-hmm.
that comes every year.
Mm-hmm.
It asks you, like, if you added these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for us to see. Once every 3 years is how we have to look at a property. You have
Okay.
to touch that property once every 3 years.
Okay.
If you're out in the county somewhere, Mannington or somewhere in that area, we're probably not going to catch it because there's no county-wide permitting system. So it's not like they have to turn something in every time. It's really helpful if they do that and we catch it on the assessment form, and we can go out and do that if it's something major. But a lot of times, if it's something minor, like we'll make notes and that kind of thing when it's time, then we'll go ahead and
Gotcha.
measure it. But it'll add value to your house, but it's not something that's like now, say if you add, like, do an addition on your house or a new garage or something like that. Yeah, something that's going to value more is really going to be something we'll have to address, and we can go and do that in between that 3 year period. But
Gotcha. Sorry, didn't mean
No,
to
no, I want him.
interject.
But no, like he said, it's not going to dramatically, unless you add a big giant addition. But when you're adding a garage, and we go off sizes, or you're adding a deck, I mean, it will add some, but it's not this massive. I mean, if you build a whole nother, if you had a 2,500 square foot house and you add another 2,500 square feet, then of course.
Gotcha.
So he was saying, like, there isn't. I was figuring, even if you didn't fill out the form, the building permits that would be going over there to get
the city
would be also.
Throw up a flag.
yeah, so we do get the city permits for the city of Fairmont.
Mm-hmm.
So we do see around the city, the actual within the city limits. Like, I look at them every month, and I'll go through and then I'll hand them off to our residential guy for his, and then for my commercial ones, I'll go and look. And since you have to have a permit for just about everything, sometimes it doesn't really matter. But I flag certain ones that look like I really need to go.
Yeah.
And as soon as I check them each month, I'll go and look and see if I have to do that.
And you really answered the next question that I had when looking at commercial property, is there any, what's the biggest factors to determine the value compared to the standard? And I know there's a lot of factors in the commercial, you know, because of.
It's true. It's you know, your use types, how you're using it. Like a building that's sitting vacant is definitely not going to value inside as someone that's a restaurant or a medical center or something. So I have a bunch of codes for use types and we list them by floor because we don't do fee appraisal. There's fee and mass appraisal. Fee is, you know, when an appraiser actually comes out and does a certified appraisal for your house. They're looking at every room, all that. You know, in our case, and it's the same way with the houses for residential. Yeah, it's mass. It's more of a general kind of thing. Like for me, it's like different floors and how, you know, how if they're like 8-foot floors or 10-foot, and what are you using them for? That kind of thing. So.
And like Jason said, the 95% is federal. You're going by guidelines anyway. So
right, we don't have, you know, we're not just out there making up stuff.
Right.
We have a sheet. It's a checklist. So it's kind of, you know, to make our lives easier, that they're looking at stuff, square footage, different things, checking
and to
off.
Stay honest as well.
Yeah, because you know, just in case you have a problem with it, you know, we want everybody to be, you know, treated fairly and the same.
Yep.
So So if a floor is, or say like a building like this, it has different floors, different businesses, do you do the highest type of business, or, you know, how do you look at a floor versus a building?
Yeah, we usually, again, this would be a great case. So in fee appraisal, they're going to come and they're going to, you know, every room, it's going to be divided out. Whereas in my case, it's just, if it's mainly something on a floor, that's what I'll do. Or like, so first, second, third floor, whatever. If it's mainly just, you know, like downstairs, it'd be what we'd call like multi-sale, or because it's just different types. So we do have some codes with multi, makes it easier. There's multi apartments, multi storage, you know, just that kind of thing. So just kind of determine how it is. You don't want to make it too complicated, but they give you codes that kind of are basic codes, and that's how I break it out for commercial property. Whereas with residential, with a house, you list the house and what type it is. Like if it's a 2-story,
it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, it's a whole different animal. It's
just to let you know, we're 75% empty right now. So I'm just,
so
I'll throw that in.
Anybody that matters.
Well, yeah. So I can.
I think I've been around here too long.
Yeah, that's okay. I've spoken with Aaron on that kind of type of thing. I can work with in commercial. I can work with that type of thing if a building's not functionally. You know, we have like physical condition and functional. If it's not functioning as a full building, we do what's called cost approach. So it's just basically, like I said, what's listed and what type of construction and what's on those floors and how good of a shape's it in. But there are certain times I can do with the income approach. So I can get paperwork to say, hey, this building's only 25% full, and I can do that for a 3-year period, just like I'm looking at a property for 3 years.
And what income is coming in.
Yes, and I can keep that value for a 3-year period, and then we have to look at it again in 3 years, just like I'm coming and reassessing that property. So, and do that with different types of you know, buildings like this, or apartments, or, you know, that type of thing. Anything where it relies on an income for people being there. Yeah. Whereas it's a little different with a restaurant. You can't just a restaurant's a restaurant. You either have them or not. But these kind of buildings are a little different.
So if a homeowner doesn't agree and thinks they're higher or lower, or I'm not sure, they're not going to argue if they're higher. I mean, lower, but is there a way to kind of come to you all and say, hey, can you redo this? This assessment I feel is off. And
absolutely. And, you know, there may be things like that. I know there was a case, a great example.
Okay.
Let's say somebody had a duplex, but only one was functioning. The other was, you know, they were remodeling it. Well, then that would be something we need to go back and look at. You know, I've seen that happen. But yeah, no, absolutely. If someone feels like it's not fair, how it works is, as long as it's before the end of February, we can gladly send them back out. But once again, we always ask people, you know, would you sell that house for what we assessed it for? And usually the answer is no, because they feel like their house is worth much more.
Oh, always.
Because listen, I get it too. Once again, I pay taxes, and you know, none of us want to pay more. I understand times are tight, but I always ask like, hey, we're being as fair as possible. But if you do not think you know, we missed something or we did something, we will gladly want to look at that to make sure that you're. And how that works is we'll send a field guy back out.
Okay.
To look at it, and we'll talk to them and see what's going on, because there are unique cases, like I said, with the duplex that we do not go to the inside of a house. We're just the outside only. So we didn't know that that's non-functioning.
Right.
So that's a good case that, you know, we can go in, the owner will say, okay, yeah, and we go verify that. So absolutely, there's ways.
So what about on the commercial side? If you have a building that on the outside looks fine, but inside there's structural damage, foundation issues, and you know, only one floor is in use.
Right.
Same deal.
Yeah, you can do the same deal. They can come, and if somebody wants to call the office, they can call and talk. And like my office where we're at, our field guys, we're in a different building, but if they call the main office, they can call and then get the number and talk to us. And we can go out and look, and you know, if something's wrong with the building, I don't want to be listing it more than what it should be. But again, same way with, like Jason said, with residential, we don't. I mean, I don't go in a vacant building or something like, you know. It's easier for me because with businesses, you have people coming in and out, so I can go in and say, hey,
Sure.
whoever's working, hi, I'm Mike, Assessor's office. Yeah, I'm just here to reappraise, and sometimes owners will talk to me if I need to do that. So it's a little more hands-on with commercial, but. Yeah, definitely. If there's something that they need looked at again, by all means, you know, I would love for them to call in and let me be able to do that. So I want to list it fairly. I want it to be what it is, and you know, and if they think it's too much, they can do that at any time. We usually do it. We try to do it later on in the year. As he said, we end of February is the end. It's like the deadline to cut off before we go to the next tax year, but. We use the month of January to do those kind of, we call them informal reviews. And they'll call in the office, and the office will fill out a paper, and then they'll send it over to our side, and the guys will look at residential, and I'll look at the commercial, and we'll talk on the phone or whatever we have to do. It's very informal, because there are formal appeals through the county commission that you can go and they can take to the county commission, and they'll give a value. They'll make a judgment for a year.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah, sure.
But when Mike's talking about the informal, 99% we can solve that with a phone call to the field guy. We do not need to go the form. Very few,
right?
Unless something's missed. So it's a very easy process if you do feel, because most of the time, you know, it's just a question of like, well, why did it go up or this or that, and then we show them, and it's worked out.
Yep.
So you can pretty much nip it in the bud before it gets any
very
further
easy, yes.
escalated.
Yes, I don't think I've had to go in front of the county commission for a formal appeal for commercial business for probably the last 2 or 3 years. We can nip it in the bud before it happens. They call me, it's like, hey, this is why this went up, and so a lot of times they'll agree and be like, okay, I understand that, or they'll be like, well, maybe I don't. Then I was like, okay, so let's talk about it, and let me come look, and we'll do that.
I know my commercial buyers are asked about income potential, and how do things like the rental income, vacancy rates, and stuff. You touch base with, you know, already with the owner of the building. How does that come into the appraisal? You know, as in we were selling this building, and you would put all those factors together.
We do.
The income approach.
Yeah, again, like I've said, the income approach. It's something we don't. I can't come and say to somebody that, but if we feel like we need to use that to determine the value, we can do that. They just have to mention, a lot of times they just have to give me they have to have some kind of paperwork to show me, to prove that that's what it is, like a rent roll or you know, the net operating income. It's like your expenses with your and then we can come up with a value. I can use an approach to do that. It's you know, it's pretty basic again in that we don't delve too far in, not like an economist to do all that, you know, but it can be done, and it's as long as that's the big thing. You just have to have your paperwork to show if something is questioned.
And we've talked a lot about, you know, taxes and increases. The one thing I want to throw in here is
Sure.
also how a certain group of people can save. It's called homestead.
That's what I was just getting ready to ask you. What tax breaks you got? Yeah.
A great question.
Yeah. You hit it.
So from July 1 to December 1, homestead is where if you're 65 years of age or totally or permanently disabled, and that can also be through the military.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's $20,000 off the assessed value that you get a credit for. How that works is you come down to the office and we fill that out for you. We help you, and then turn it in. Then you only have to do it, once. And if there's two people, I recommend maybe 165, 161. Go ahead and put, do a joint so it's on there, so you never have to worry about it. Forbid anything happen in the future. Also, we do farm. There's farm, exemptions of paper, they fill out that's due at a certain time. Also, they, bring that in. And timber. Am I missing?
Yeah,
anything?
managed timber is another one. If you have 10 acres of woods or more on your property, you don't have to timber it. You don't have to do that, but you have to come up with a plan with the state, with the Division of Forestry, and you come up with that plan. As long as you you have to pay for that, but they'll reimburse you. But it's a real big tax break.
Well, I didn't know
Because
that.
that's something that you can do. So for your property, and it's again, you don't have to timber it, but you have to have the plan out there that if you would, so they want to make sure that it's done correctly, and you just don't. And if you do that, you get a big tax break for that too. That's
So you mentioned military. Now, is that active, inactive, veterans?
Well, being disabled.
Yes, it's like being disabled.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like
gotcha.
permanently disabled. Yeah, that you can come into homestead, so you don't have to be 65. But if you're permanently disabled and you
Gotcha.
show us the paperwork for that. Yeah,
And that's part, one thing that I find rewarding is, I get to talk to the public a decent amount, but during this time of year, this is our very busy season when people assessments. So the one thing, these occasions where unfortunately the husband or wife have passed away, and what I've did is I've made it more efficient at our office. So I have some tables on the outside, so I can help people fill those paper out. Because a lot of times maybe the spouse had handled, the affairs,
A lot
and
of
now
times.
it's confusing, and they're dealing with enough stress. It is pressure, and these forms. You have enough on your mind. So like the one thing that I've found the most, joy is being able to connect with people and help them out
Nice.
through this time. So
Yeah, because like you said, they never used a checkbook. If they actually signed their own name, they wouldn't recognize it and think it was forged. But yeah,
I'm actually going through that now.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think,
so
that's
it
one of the
happens a
things I
lot.
really enjoy about my job is it's rewarding to help people and show them
Yeah.
that we're not out there just to like raise your taxes and be that kind of person or whatever. That's just like Jason said, it's just be fair.
well,
And
and
just let me we can work through. Let's just be
Yeah.
fair. That's the main thing.
because these budgets, the largest part of what the taxes go towards, 72% is to schools. And I
Okay.
understand some people may say, well, I don't have anybody at school or this or that, but it's a fair system. That's how it goes. And these are people that are going to be our future doctors, lawyers, that are going to one
Take
way
care
help
of you.
society,
Touch it.
one
yeah.
way or another, nurses, such. Also, police, fire, 22% the county, 5% is excess levy. So that's parks, transit, library, humane society, and then 1% to the state. So the breakdown on the taxes.
So it's good to know and for people to hear that you're not a animal or something that can't be touched, that you are there for them. You are there, your office is there for them to help them, not someone just to say, you owe this and this is what your appraised value is. So people should feel more welcome to your office and to talk things out.
Yeah, I always laugh because no one wants to see the quote unquote tax man, but like
Yeah.
I try to make it, we have a great staff. They're very friendly.
Mhm.
I've gotten several emails, which that's great because I preach customer service.
Mhm.
And listen, there's always going to be some type of line sometimes, but what I ran on and promised was to make it more efficient.
Mhm.
And by doing that, I've opened up a line to decrease the wait times.
Mhm.
So previously there was 2 lines, now there's 3. Also, too, I like to interject myself and not just, sit in the office. So I'll come out
Nice.
and help out where I can, fill out the forms, with the people.
Nice.
So anybody that has a question or anything, we want to help them out, get it answered.
And this question goes for both of you. For the multifamily or mixed-use properties, how do you determine the highest and best use for that, and what makes one direction more valuable than the other when you're going out to assess the property?
That's a good question. It does, the highest and best use is one of our main mantras to how we're going to do that. So, I have a lot of things with doing commercial to determine whether this should be a commercial or a residential property. There's different avenues we can take. If just for example, say you live in your house and maybe you have a little hair salon in a couple rooms or something like that, or you do a mechanics business in your garage. Now we can keep that at residential because your highest and best use is a residential. It's your property, and it keeps your tax class because you have two different tax classes. And when you live there, your tax class, as to opposed to say renting, it's your assessment. It's half the tax rate. Okay. Your percentage is half. So say your tax rate is 2.8%. If you live there, it's 1.4. So you're paying half of that. So we don't want to take that away. If your highest and best use is your house, that's fair. Again, being fair is the. So we can do a split. We can tax split. We can go in the higher class for maybe 20% of your building and 10% of your land or whatever you're using for that commercial. So we don't have to make it a complete commercial property. I hope that answers your question.
No, definitely.
In a specific, using a case like that, but. So we try to determine that, and the guys, if it's residential, they'll speak with me, and we'll work it together. Say the highest and best use should be this, and what do you think we should do? So,
because my sister switched her law firm, from Portland, Maine, to her house because she just now is at the age much older than me, but. And that's what she ended up doing. But I remember her going and talking about how they did come on and doing something like that.
Yeah, we can split up the property into different, we can basically like part residential, part commercial. And we do it as a tax split to say 80% is residential, 20% is commercial for your building and your land. Both we can do it so that kind of thing. Yeah. That's something they can bring up, and sometimes, again, when you're reviewing some, you can't go inside every time. Sometimes, if you don't see a sign or something, we can't really fix it. But if that's something they would like to call in about, any of that type of stuff that's out of the ordinary, we'll figure it out.
The biggest thing I'm taking away from here is you're not untouchable. You can call, you can communicate. Yes. You're not someone that's gonna avoid calls. You're going to be there for the communication and actually physically go out and talk to them if they need to.
And I always tell people, from July to about October, you may have to call a couple times because our main priority is people that come in. The window is what I preach. We will try to answer every phone call. Sometimes we have had trouble with the system phone going down. But you can imagine, with a massive amount of people, we're doing the best that we can. But we'll email, call, stop in, and we will get a hold of you.
Yeah, because I originally reached out for you all to be on the podcast in January, and you're like, this is a bad time. I'm so busy. Contact me later. I'd love to do it.
Our budget, everything else. And I'm so glad that you asked because I think people being educated with all these, a few more that we're going to touch on and just kind of understanding because it's just it's not just random or we make up stuff or.
Right. That's a big misconception, I think, as well.
There's a method to the madness.
So, something I may not have touched base with you all, and I just wanted to throw this out there because it just came to my mind. Estates. How are they best handled? Are they, if someone was to not live here in the state and they needed to know about their loved one's property and how to take care of it from a standpoint of taxes and the appraisal to get for their fiduciary duties with the court. Is there anything you can help them with if they contact your office, or is there another office that would best serve them?
And we can help out with the real estate part, but also there's a if there's going through probate office on the first floor that they handle that stuff. Whose name is it in now? I mean, anything real estate related question that we can answer, but they have to go through that if it's being transferred into somebody's name, wait for the will to be completely probated, and it can take up to 3 months for all that stuff to.
If they find the taxes hadn't been paid or the assessed value, or is that something that can be negotiated, or it's what's there? I mean, do you add a percentage, I guess, to the taxes? If how much is that if it's late, and is there any wiggle room there for anybody that needs help or assistance?
That could be a dangerous question.
Okay. Case by case.
There are like late, but in circumstances that we could, waive the late penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I don't make the tax rate, so I can't say, oh, well, I know it's a hardship for you right now. You were taxed at this rate. That's what it is. But, sometimes the late fees, we might be able to, work something out.
Okay.
Not always, not ever. Every situation is different, but.
Gotcha.
Just something you have to work.
I had a friend recently in that situation, which you guys actually did, because you guys said, "Oh, actually, this should have been a flag well before then." So the late fees, it was like, "Thank you," on that.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's something too. If it's something that we've made a mistake on, or within reason, we can do an exoneration. We can exonerate, and money can be given back if something's been paid incorrectly. If it's something that our office has done, there is a process to do that they do in the main office, that exonerations can be done if that needs to be the case. So there's always ways to work. We work in conjunction with the tax office does with the late fees if you've missed or a couple years. She
was very happy, because she was like, oh, that's.
And as he mentioned, like a probate, like the county clerk's office, they do with the deeds and the transfers and all that. It all comes. We're all connected in certain ways, and they'll do their work, and we read deeds, and then then we change those owners or whatever, and everything has its process, but it's not just us. Other offices, we're in conjunction with them.
Again, it takes a village.
It does.
And what are you seeing the trends in the Marion County commercial market? Are industrial, retail, multifamily, and what do you think investors should be paying attention to?
It's growing in certain areas. Certain areas are stagnant. A lot of the county is, commercial wise, is stagnant, unfortunately. But you have different, like Whitehall, especially Whitehall and Pleasant Valley, near the interstate, where everything's going on. That's where everything's at. Yeah. So especially the Middletown Commons, and that's where most of your growth is. So
I just would like to see. It's so beautiful, the architect downtown. Fairmont's beautiful.
It is.
And
it is.
It really is.
A lot of old buildings. It's there's challenges to repurposing these old buildings, and that's always going to be the case. So, hopefully, people will support that, and that's something in the future that will be figured out, and we can maintain stuff here in downtown part of Fairmont. We really want to see everybody in the whole county. There's little towns that really need stuff. I grew up in Grantown, and Grantown has not, ever since the mines closed that was there in the mid '80s. When I was a kid, there was so much there, and now there's nothing.
It's dried up.
And it's sad to see, but you've just got to.
That's what happens when Nick and Rod move away.
So where's your office located at the courthouse?
We're on the 4th floor, Jackson Street. Not too far from here. So.
Right. Hop, skip,
come on up, 4th floor.
And if you need more office space, we have the 2nd floor.
Then it gets reassessed.
They don't have, the courthouse doesn't have to worry. Do you have those kind of properties are exempt? Tax exempt from government. But,
right.
So
is there anything that we haven't touched base on that you would like to?
You did ask one great question. So new homeowner.
Yes.
We talked about a homestead.
Uh-huh.
Right? So that's $20,000 off the assessed value. Mm-hmm. So let's pretend I'm buying a house from someone that was an estate.
Mm-hmm. I've done that.
So the taxes for a certain time would be cheaper because, not day one or they instantly, is it changed once we get its, the calendar year.
It's usually July, right?
Right. So with that being said, one thing a property owner would want to look into is, okay, well, when they get all the taxes, because there's just so much going on when you're buying a house, but
Sure.
okay, well, maybe my taxes are going to be a little bit cheaper this year because it's still under homestead
Okay.
until the following year.
Mm-hmm.
Flip side of that,
Okay.
if you're buying a house from an investor, so it was a previous rental property, or if it was a flip, that's at a higher tax. Because when you live in it and it's your primary residence, we give you a break.
Okay.
When you're using it as an investment or to make money, it's taxed at a higher class. So something that they want to do is call our office if they're unsure, if the realtor doesn't know or they can't find out. And also, too, for the people that are tech savvy, all information is MarionCountyWV.com. So that will be on there. They would go to all departments, assessor, public records, right on there. So once again, MarionCountyWV.com, all departments, then the assessor. Then you can look up the property records.
Okay.
So the tech savvy people do that. Anyone else that's want to call, but also, the first thing I'll say is, ask your realtor, was the house, a primary residence. Then there's it's simple, but just understand that if it was a homestead, that's why your taxes would go up. It's not us doing anything. It's because the person, was able to benefit from the homestead.
Sure.
Or if they were higher, they may not always be higher because you bought it from someone that was an investment.
So on the investment side, is it going to be higher in the investment price up until the next July, and then it drops, or is an investment different than the homestead?
No, so the homestead is the age.
Right.
So an investment that will drop off. So once it's how you use the property, and when you have it, like you said, July 1. Mm-hmm. So depending upon when you buy it, you may be responsible for a little more of the higher taxes until it rolls over. But it's not going to stay just because you buy it.
Right.
To be clear, you buy it from an investor, it's not going to stay. Just like it's not going to stay if you buy it from someone that had homestead. That
because it'll turn that next July.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a very confusing part is the July 1st and what year you're paying and when you're not. So, like we just started on July 1st for the actual 2028 tax year. Mm-hmm. So we're getting ready to pay bills for the 2026 tax year. But as appraisers, we're already looking ahead for 2 years down the road.
Right.
So say if your deed comes through after July 1st of this year now, the prior owner is going to pay the taxes up until the 2028 for 2 year tax years down the road. So it's another thing it's something you don't have to worry about. Like you don't have to, as soon as you don't have to pay your real estate taxes that year that you buy something. We're looking a year ahead, and I tell people that with commercial too. I'm like, it's this old building. You're not going to pay taxes until the following year. So if something's real close to July, somewhere say June 30th, you didn't come in until June 30th. I mean, technically that's something we can work with too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to charge you a whole full tax year when you just had your proper commercial property for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's something that we can determine whether it should be done or not.
And that's things you can definitely call. You don't have to be like me always. And giving a shout out to Maria Hoffman down in Charleston. Thank you for helping me with the 11 LLCs. But like you said, you'll put us to the right direction and stuff like that. And
it's always about customer service. Mm-hmm. That's it too. It's just.
And how my mind works from to touch on something, the realtor standpoint, just because if you are buying a house that was, don't let that discourage you, because there's certain things you could always negotiate with the buyer seller to offset those. So I don't want to say the end all be all and scare away, but just understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I personally, and then the attorneys who I work with normally try their best to make sure that the people understand, hey, it comes tax time, this is what's going to happen. It's not going to be until July 1st, especially people from another state, to explain to them how it works here and let them know. Now, I have one question. You had mentioned, I have seen the homestead on the taxes, but do you have a military? I mean, does it say military? I mean, disabled, or I've not seen anything different.
There's a question on the homestead form.
But I mean, when I go to look at taxes and they says homestead, the value, is there another item line that says this is for this person had military discount or?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I was going to say I've only seen the homestead.
Yeah, it should. I think it's just general cut and dry. Either it's homestead or it's not. When it comes to that, yeah.
Okay, because I didn't know about the timber and all, and I had I've only seen the homestead. So
For both of you, looking ahead, what do you both see coming for Marion County in the next 5 to 10 years?
Me being reelected, running.
You have my vote. You had my vote before I even met you because I've just heard a lot of good things
I
about
appreciate that. So my focus is bringing us into the 21st century as far as like the things that I have planned. So right now, dog tax, we have to come in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my plan is to get that so we can pay it online. So that's going to be my mission. Like I said, some things are slower because I've had to hire and with people rotating out, train.
It's a lot your first year, I'm sure.
It is trying to learn. So my thing is, transparency. You want to call them, you want to call it, just being accessible to the public. Also, just the efficiency. As I get in there, I'm able to make my changes. Just making it more efficient for the public because I don't like to wait in line. I know people don't. I know you take your time. And what I'm trying to educate people on, if you get caught up, you can actually pay and do everything online, or drop it. We have a drop back box or mail it in, like the assessment forms. Once you're caught up, you may never have to wait in line ever again at my office, and that's the big push that I'm making right now to get you caught up. And anyone's welcome to come down. And I said some people just want to hand a person a form, and you absolutely have the right to do that, or if you have a question. But some people don't want to come in or do whatever, and I'm making it. Educating them like, hey, you have several other options where if you don't want to come in here, you don't have to. If you do your part, not on my end. So.
That's what I loved about Charleston this year. Don't have to drive the check down there. She hooked me up with the portal, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Efficiency, transparency, and that's my goals.
It's an ever-changing world,
It is.
Yeah.
Scan it, app it, or something like that.
Right.
It's true.
But we'll still do the old school method. We have no problem with whatever you need or wherever you're at in life, because I know there's a lot of people like my grandmother that, ain't on that.
Yeah.
And I love talking to people. That's, like I said, a good time of year that I can come and help people fill out those forms, and I like doing that. So whatever your need is, we'll take care of you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just don't be afraid. That's a lot of people just look at it and just want to be like, oh, I can't deal with the assessor's office. I can't do this, and it's not like that. Especially with Jason, and he's.
It's not the DMV.
It's not. I worked at the DMV for
Have
many
you?
years. Before I became to the assessor's office, I was at the DMV for 14 years. So I understand it. Now, they're doing the same kind of thing. So that's going more online.
Yeah, I've done a lot of online stuff.
Yeah.
So you shut down Mike's idea about putting the ticket thing. A for
please. No, you don't
B
want,
3.
You don't want that.
I feel like I'm buying meat at the counter.
Right.
He's doing
now
a good job
serving.
the way he's
Right?
doing it.
Anything else, Mike? Do you have anything you want to add?
I don't think so. Not
Okay.
really. It's just it's just
Customer service.
If you need that, don't be afraid that we're just gonna shove you aside and we're not gonna do things fair. We're just taking your money. That's not what it's about. We're there to do a fair assessment of your property. And if however that needs to be done, I know there's a lot of properties and sometimes we miss things, or you have to be quick and you have to be certain time, you have to have things done. But if there's something we have to really focus on, we will do that.
There's something big that I want to add in there.
Sure.
So arm length transaction, meaning, so buy a house. So me and Mike, we're friends, and let's say he's selling a house. Well, whatever he sells, we work out a friend deal. So it could be way lower than actually the fair market value. So sometimes, in the assessment process where people argue, like say they inherited or the family member
They paid
sold
$1.
it too cheap. They paid $1. Well, that's not fair market value. So, when a realtor's involved, that's fair market value where people have done. So I tell people, because we've had that come up where they want, someone to come out, and I'll gladly will, but I've had to explain, it's worth X amount, and we're basing it off of other things that we assessed in the area.
Right.
I understand that you may have bought it from a family member or a friend, or you got an amazing deal off a private individual that was, $50,000 off market, but we have to go off the formula. So I just wanted to touch on that.
That's where
That's
I'm at
great-
right now with my continuing education in real estate, the
Yeah.
dual agent, and you know,
Yeah.
stuff
and
like
I
that.
have, and we have to analyze sales. That's another thing we do. There's a gentleman that does all the residential sales, and I do the commercial sales.
Mhm.
So we have to code those in different. If it's not an arm's length transaction, as they call it, between buyer and so with nothing in between with a realtor or some, where it's just it's done
Arm's
correctly.
length.
But there's but there's other factors, and we have to code that because the state looks at us every year to look at these sales and see if whether we're why our market value may be off or whatever. But if you, as long as you're coding them and you make notes and say this is why, it was between related individuals, or it was
The state.
they go and fix the
Wheels.
property, they go and demo, they do a construct. There's all kinds of codes for that we can look at.
Mhm.
And I do that with the commercial, and a lot of times I'll have to call the owners. There's a form that they fill out and I'll call them and like, okay, what are you going to use this property for? Have you done this, that, and that's a lot of times. Then we'll go into it. Almost becomes an informal review because, oh well, this wasn't like this, and I'm like, oh okay, well let's fix that. Let's make this what your value is, what it's supposed to be. So,
And the state monitors us too, so it's not an unchecked system where we're getting looked at, make sure we're doing stuff right, not
Right.
cutting people favors. Oh,
Right.
he knows
Right.
the assessor, he's doing that. No, everyone gets treated the same. One system, so it's not like I can favor people to
Right.
do my agenda. No, it's a state thing where they're going to look, and that would be caught. And I would not do that. Everyone gets treated the same.
yeah, we're under the state tax department for that. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. That's not something I'd thought about. But
Mhm.
that brought me to another question I hadn't thought about. Is oil and gas have anything to do if it's on your property with your appraised value or no?
Well, oil and gas, it can make a difference, but
Whether it's
there's all-
active or non-active as
yeah,
well?
and we have someone in the office, someone that actually just deals with that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because natural resources, mineral rights,
Mm-hmm.
all that ties in, and it's actually taxed different by a different section of the state. So it's same way with mine. Like if there's industrial properties, the state takes care of that. So even though it's similar to commercial, it's like say where Novellis was, that kind of thing. The state looks at those, and I don't. So there's different departments for that, all that.
Probably need to get someone in there because that's a big thing around here with oil and gas. And I just actually put in a lady called me, and there was an abandoned well, and it was back from 1893,
Oh,
and I
wow.
had to have someone go out there because I didn't have the well tag. So he had to go out and find it, and they said they find thousands of them a year that have never been recorded, or their GPS was different at that time, and they use like strides.
Mhm.
So that would be a great topic to have a podcast on. So very good.
And we could have Lassie barking at the well.
Timmy, I'm in the well.
Yeah.
Well, we are so happy you all came by today, and I think we
Definitely.
educated buyers and sellers and the general public about what you all do and how that works with appraisals, and that we make sure to get Jason reelected so he can continue on down the technology road and get us back into easier transparency and things with the office. So we appreciate you all being here with us
Thank
today.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
And Michael, I will put a trivia team together. That will be out.
Okay.
Squad.
Cut, Trent, cut.
Cut.